Hi, good morning. My name is Dan Meyer and I'm Executive Vice President of the YMCA of Metro Detroit, and welcome to our Detroit Leadership Academy. It's a charter school, which means it's a public school for elementary students here, and we do K through 8 here at the YMCA DLA. You wouldn't think the YMCA is involved in education, but actually we've been involved for over 100 years. Here in Detroit, we actually started the Detroit College of Law, and our first elementary school was in the 1880s. It was called Hudson School for boys. Since then, we've been involved in a series of different educational initiatives, but the biggest need here in Detroit right now, of course, is elementary and middle school and high school education. So the YMCA back in '97 began its first charter elementary school, and this is our second one in the city of Detroit, serving one of the most depressed economically areas in the city of Detroit. Education is crucial to our future here in Detroit. It's our biggest need, and it's the one place where the YMCA felt it could serve the community and have the greatest impact on all these little kids that you'll see here at the YMCA school. Just to give you a fraction of the impact that we're having here at the DLA, I want to tell you one story about a little boy I met this summer by the name of Curtis. We actually built this school this summer. It was an old parochial school that we totally rehabbed in a matter of 4 months with $1 million that came from our capital campaign donors. And during the construction period, this little Curtis was always at our school. He was always riding his bicycle around and helping us pick up trash and such, and we essentially put him unofficially to work. Well, we also built a playground. We partnered with another non-for-profit called Kaboom, and we built a playground in one day. Swings, slides, mountain of bark chip, everything came together in one day. And the first person there in August when we were building this playground was that little boy named Curtis, and he was the last one gone. And I was too. And I was staying there until the caterers came up and picked up the tent we had erected and all the food preparation that we had for the luncheon that we had prepared for the people working. So it was just me and Curtis, and I got to admit to you, after a long day of work, Curtis was asking me every question under the sun, and I was getting just so tired. And finally I said, you know, Curtis, we're going to make you superintendent of this playground. He's like, oh, great, what's superintendent mean? I said, well, you're in charge of it. You're going to pick up things. You're going to make sure everything is working fine. You're going to tell the other kids to help you out, and so that we take care of this playground so it's here forever and ever. And he said, well, that's great, Mr. Dan, but how will anybody know that I'm the superintendent? I said, well, that's a good question. So I went to my van that was right there, and I pulled out a long screwdriver. And I said, well, we're going to write our names in this wet cement, and it's okay. We just put this wet cement in there, and it's around a bench. We're going to write our names. And so I went down and I wrote my name, Dan, D-A-N, and I gave the screwdriver to Curtis, who's a third grader. And Curtis went down to write his name, and he started with a K. And he looked up at me and he said, what's next? And I said, U. And I said, R-T-I-S. And it just broke my heart that this boy who's in third grade couldn't spell his own first name. I later found out his name doesn't start with a K, it does start with a C. So the vice principal and principal actually went over to Curtis's house, met his mom and dad, and said, we need this boy. We need him in our school. He's a leader. He's going to be somebody who's going to show other kids, because he's just charismatic. Well, Curtis, they tested him, and he actually tested in first grade level, and so we put him in second grade. And I got to tell you, he's a hard worker. And we found in his first spelling test, he got 100 right, 100%. His second spelling test, he'll tell you that he got 100% right. And then his third spelling test, he got 70% right. And he came to his teacher, and he looked so heartbroken because he had done so well. And she asked him, she said, well, did you study? And he goes, well, I kind of watched the football game that day, and I didn't study as hard as I normally do. But I'm going to study next time because I got to put first things first. And sure enough, fourth test, Curtis got 100%. And he's well on his way. And someday, either I'm going to hire Curtis or I'm going to be working for Curtis. I don't know which, and it won't matter to me. But that's the impact that our school is having on little boys like Curtis, who, given the opportunity, are as bright and incredible as any other child you'll see in the whole United States of America. So thanks for joining us.